Hello. Welcome again to my IGTV channel, and this is my third video. On my channel, I kind of just share my spiritual leanings, and my reflections, my spiritual journey. And I draw a lot of on oracle card decks and journal a lot actually, and I do a lot of astrology as well, so that might be upcoming in future videos. But right now I'm just focusing a lot on oracles and trying to read them and trying to interpret them, right? So onward from that rambly introduction. This was something that I actually did last night, and it's just wanting to ask my oracle card deck, what does it have, what lessons do I have for the next moon cycle. I've been into the moon cycle, here and there, the past 2 years or so, but I've not really been into it completely. And initially I didn't really understand it. It's kind of like a force feed kind of thing, but recently I've been really into it and back into it. So I actually, sorry if you heard my mom. Um, so right now I've actually, yeah. So I drew these three cards for the upcoming moon cycle, and it is very interesting. I mean, if you guys watch my IGTV, I drew this card again. I drew it last time around. I drew it again. So this is interesting. It's a theme that I probably have to really keep in mind of, right? Um, and this kind of card, wow, I tell you, I've always been drawing cards like this. So, cards that have some form of a, traveling mechanism, and always with someone on that traveling mechanism, whether it's a hot air balloon or a boat or whatever it is, and looking out towards the future, looking out towards the horizon. So it's interesting. So travel literally, I mean, it's a theme that has always been a big thing in my life. Because knowing astrology charts and all that, my ninth house is very overloaded. So ninth house also represents travel, and it's always been a very big thing. But kind of looking out, assessing the future, looking towards the future, transformational journeys. Journeys is the key thing. So this theme is very interesting because it's come up so many times in my life, right? Um, and masculine. Oh my god, it's so interesting because if you watch my very first video on IGTV, you realize that I actually pick a lot of masculine cards. I don't know why, because I've actually been trying to tune more into my feminine energy and not really my masculine energy. I've always been thinking I have too much of masculine energy, all the over planning, overthinking, over strategizing. But I find that this is so interesting because whilst I may think that I'm over planning and overthinking, I'm actually not doing it correctly, or doing it not necessarily correctly. I don't want to put a judgment on the way I think, but it's more like it isn't very effective for the things that I've been doing. So, and I've also been wanting some sort of a more effective, healthy structures and strategies in my life. And drawing very masculine cards seems to be like, a recent it's a recent life lesson. It's something that I actually have to pay attention to, right? So I'll actually read the interpretations in the guidebook for you, and then I will talk a little bit about my reflections on it. So we'll just start with, okay, let's start with assessing. Okay, the assessing card. Let me go to number 9. Okay, it's actually the first quarter moon assessing. Right, so it is time to assess your current position. You must make sure your blind spots are revealed and that you are honest with others and yourself. Sometimes the hard decision is the best decision. You should be able to assess and move quickly based on that assessment. I'm enjoying moving and choosing. So that's the affirmation, right, for this card. You have begun your journey and now it is time to assess where you are and what to do next. You have made a decision. You have worked and walked the path for some time, and yet you understand that in every journey it's a wise action to check the map. Sometimes we go along a pathway and we keep going even if it seems like that way is no longer the right way for us. Yeah, so sometimes we feel we have gone too far to turn around, and so we settle on a journey and destination that doesn't really suit us or justify or satisfy us. However, if we just had some courage, flipping the page, we could have reassessed as we went and perhaps ended up somewhere else, somewhere better. Now is the time to look carefully at all aspects of your life, especially the areas in which you have set some intentions or goals. Ask yourself, do I still want these things? Do I still want that same end result? If the answer is no, ask yourself what you can do to maintain momentum and head towards what you now desire. Although it doesn't seem terribly glamorous, assessment has a high payoff for us if we bother to do it well. Doing it well means we really look hard at how things are going. All of us have some kind of blind spot, so it's worth exposing this by consulting a trusted friend or finding where negative repeating patterns are and looking for the cause. Shining a light on the blind spot and taking action to shift it is one of life's big catalysts for change, right? How interesting. I use words like interesting and poignant a lot, but it really is interesting and poignant, right? um, I've always been a little bit of a planner and person that reflects a lot, and assessing actually really kind of builds into my the practices that I have each month for myself, where I actually reflect on my month. This has been really interesting because I've actually been this whole COVID period is actually has made a lot of significant changes to our life, isn't it? And it has put a lot of my plans on the back foot. um, I'm not even sure whether I actually want those plans, to actually go ahead right now, because I think that it might be a good thing not to go ahead with them, and that might be other ways to actually get to my destination. So I'm actually interested to. I've actually been not interested, but been actually assessing where my life goals are, my priorities are, and what they are actually, what I can actually do moving forward. And this picking this card is just so, so on time. Um, yeah, and it's just making plans are great, but you need to assess where your plans are going and where you're actually heading in the journey. Do not settle, right? Do not just make a plan and stick to it. I have a huge problem with this. Make a plan, see it through, must see it right through stubbornly to the end, but sometimes you need to take a pause and you need to reassess. Is this really going the way that I think it should be going? Not should be going, but is this going in a way that actually helps me get to my end destination? Is the end destination even something somewhere that I want to get to? So it's always reflections, and we need to build in the flexibility and the adaptability to actually reassess our plans and reassess our life paths. Do not settle. Okay, people, do not settle. I'm a huge fan of not huge fan, but I'm just really just I just don't like settling, right? Don't just do things just because people tell you to or society tells you to, but follow your path. Okay, reassess and follow your own path, right? And the wolf moon, hunger. And this is interesting because, like I said, I picked this last month, but I'll just read it to you. So feed the good and hope within you. There will always be a lean part of the cycle. Prosperity will come. Do not let your hunger blindly dictate your actions entirely. An old and wise Cherokee speaking to his grandson about life. The young boy asked his grandfather, it is said, "Grandfather, that everyone has two wolves within them. The first wolf gives darkness, despair, and hate, and jealousy, and sorrow. The second wolf gives light and hope, and helpfulness, and kindness. Yet, grandfather, I feel them fighting within me. What can I do?" "My small son, these two wolves will always fight, and they will fight within each person." "You are no different," said the grandfather. "But," said the boy, "grandfather, which wolf will win?" And the grandfather answers, "Whichever wolf you feed." We must be careful about what we nourish and feed within us, keywords. If we give abundance to the aspects of the self that can harm others and ourselves, then we cannot truly thrive. Having no limitations upon these behaviors and patterns hurts us and starves the higher and finer parts of ourselves that will bring us more happiness. To ripple that happiness to others is part of why we are on the planet as humans. We must also recognize that in life, just because it is a cycle, there will always be leaner, less abundant, or less bright times. Yet we have built up our resilience and self-trust for times like this, and we know we are both loved and protected. The cycle will soon turn to less shadow and more bounty. I drew this card a couple of weeks ago, and it seems that I'm still on this trajectory. And the keywords here, like I said, pay attention to what you're feeding and nourishing yourself with, literally with the food that you put to your bodies, and with the people that you hang out with, the energies that you invite into your life, the energies that you keep up yourself with, the beliefs, the thoughts, your actions, every single thing. What are you feeding yourself with? Is the stuff that you're feeding yourself with nourishing? Is it effective? Is it good for you? All these things are something that we need to take note of. And I won't spend too much on this time on this card because I reviewed it before, but you just be mindful of be discerning and mindful of what you actually put into yourselves, whether it's in your minds, or your actions, and your food. right? And it also talks about bounty. So do not despair if you are just, low on luck currently in life. Um, keep your chins up and be resilient. You'll get there. And it's always life is always a cycle. There's ups and downs. If it's a little bit on a downward trajectory now, just take comfort in the fact that it would come up again, right? Stay strong and be resilient. And yeah, be conscious of what you feed yourself. Right. So now it's the masculine card. Interesting, because I really want to hear what this card actually says. Right. So it is time to step forward and lead, be the leader in your own life. You have more power than you think. It is time to formally learn more, enroll in a course, or learn a new skill. Offer your protection to someone weaker than yourself. Take steps to improve your health and vitality. Interesting, right? It says learn a new skill. May the positive attributes of the masculine align with me. While lunar gods are rare, usually their realms are the solar. They are conspicuous when they appear. The Australian Aboriginal deity of the Wanarua tribal area Baiame, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, sorry if I'm not, encourages us to observe the laws of the land and to appreciate the beauty around us. Baiame is depicted with having big eyes and no mouth, teaching us that sometimes beauty does not need to be spoken about, just witnessed with the eyes of our head and of our heart. The Norse god Mani, the moon himself, teaches us to be wise and about the passage of time. The Mesopotamian sin shows us how to ask about the future and how important it is to protect the weak. There are many more. The traditional positive attributes of the masculine, such as strength, physical vitality, power of will, shielding, and protection of the weak, are important for anyone to adopt, no matter their gender or orientation. Should you pull this card, it is asking you to step up into your power, your uniqueness, and offer your guidance to those who may need it. Interesting. Be a leader in your own life, be a leader to others. You know, step into your power, which is something I struggle with. I need some more spiritual kind of reflections on this, but I do struggle a lot with my power. My my personality and my chart in general has very it's a very masculine chart, very cardinal and very go getting. But I always hold myself back, I feel, and I also hold myself back when I have to lead other people, which kind of sucks sometimes, because sometimes in my day job I do have to tell people, manage people. So it's harder when you always try to tell yourself to be agreeable and be nice and not step up, because when people don't see you stepping up, it also creates issues for people in the team. And you're not stepping up for yourself in your life and in into your power. You actually you're actually not really coming into yourself. And what I mean by that is that you're not really realizing the authentic, side of yourself. Because, I think a lot of us struggle with power as well, and giving power, releasing power, really relinquishing power. And, like for me, I feel like, showing power sometimes is actually lording over people. Um, and these are beliefs and things I have to unravel myself and deal with myself and come to terms with. But because we live in certain ways, I don't want to get too much into to talk about the patriarchy and all that, but we have been living in very masculine times, even in organizations, and the way we run our lives is still pretty masculine. So, but I feel that both the masculine and the feminine has its role to play, and its part to play, not only in just society but in our lives as well. So, the masculine is, finding your power, living your power. And it also says, to learn new skills. Yeah, that's so my thing, because I love learning new things. And this is such a great time to learn new things, because I'm always stuck at home. And it's also protecting other people weaker than yourself, and being unique. So great lessons, because it talks about leadership and power, and it talks about feeding myself with good things, and reassessing my plans, all stuff that I'll pay attention to in this moon cycle. And it's interesting because I already see this in play, and I'm already been putting in steps to actually reassess, and to reassess what I've been nourishing myself with, and to reassess my power as well, because I do have some beliefs and things tied up in it. Right. So this is the reading for the new moon cycle. as in the new moon cycle, right? Which was drawn on